Last year had its story. This season, we're writing something new. We've had this stretch of games circled on our calendars all year because it's the ball you play today that will decide your path in January.
Burrow uncorks it, end zone, touchdown, T. Higgins!
But this time of year presents its own unique set of challenges.
Hey, play on football from here on out! Yes, sir! Be at your best!
This team was built for this. And we know what it takes. So, to those that may not think that we're up for the challenge, just remember, they have to play us.
It's the showdown we have all been waiting for. Burrow versus Mahomes, round 3, as Cincinnati looks to stake its claim in the AFC. Welcome in to Bengals Weekly. I'm Marissa Contepelli. Riding a 3-game win streak, the Bengals roll into December playing their best ball of the season. But before we get to kickoff in this AFC Championship rematch, it's been a next man up mentality for the Bengals, and we'll go behind the stripes with a guy making the most of his opportunity. The CBS A-Team will be on the call Sunday, and we'll welcome in Jim Nantz to preview it. Plus, on Countdown, I'll tell you just how reliable T. Higgins has been. But first, T was back in Tennessee as the Oak Ridge native put on a show for all in attendance. We now head down to field level as we had Higgins mic'd up against the Titans.
Back home with it! Back home with it! Yeah. Damn, they got your boy mic'd up. Chase! Chase! You gotta get them hips loose, yo. So if I score, I can get the saucer. I went to Clemson. You want me to talk? Huh? I got
it. Joe Burrow and Tennessee native T. Higgins marching out to the 50 as the coin toss captains today.
My brother, good.
Good luck today, man. Stay healthy.
You too, bro.
So,
good luck, bro. Good luck today. Man, this feels good.
let's go!
Damn, they took my towel. You eating a glizzy with no bev and no condiment on it. You're pitiful. Well, Jamar Chase eating a glizzy. He's a glizzy gobbler. I'm done, bro.
Hands it off to P. Ryan, follows blockers to the right, and he will run into the end zone. Standing up for the Bengals touchdown.
That boy Smaje be here running that hard. Oh, look at it, yeah. Oh, he got 2 glizzies. Let's do it. Yes, sir! Yeah!
Bales, get your eyes around quick.
Yeah, I got you.
Joe catches the shotgun snap, fakes to P. Ryan, floats it toward the end zone, and Higgins, he's got it! Touchdown! Bengals!
Hold me out here, baby!
How special is that for a Tennessee kid? T. Higgins coming back home. Gives it to Henry, and he will not make it back to the line of scrimmage. Mike Hilton knifing into the backfield.
Yes, sir, Mike. That's 2 of them, Mike. Yes, sir. Yes, T. Yes, sir, Trey. Yeah, Trey. Yeah, Trey.
Fires deep downfield for Higgins. T. Higgins has the football. An amazing catch.
Come on, boy. Let me get that off. Big time play. We win? It's over? It's my state! Damn! What they talking about? It's my state! It's my state! Came back home, man. Came back home and got the dub. Who they said they're gonna beat them Bengals? Yeah! Nobody! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir!
The Bengals defense was better together in the win over the Titans. With a playoff-type atmosphere in Nashville, the Bengals D rose to the occasion, holding Derrick Henry to 38 yards, his lowest rushing yardage since Week 2, averaging just 2.2 yards per carry, all while limiting Ryan Tannehill to a 64 completion percentage and a passer rating under 92.
Sacked! Nailed by Sam Hubbard!
Henry blown up by Hilton.
You know, one thing this team took to heart was how physical they heard this game was going to be. Our guys answered the bell today. They made play after play to win us back the field position there in the second half and allow us to win.
The defense was big in the second half, allowing just 6 first downs and 2 field goals in the final 2 quarters. The Bengals defense is better together. Brought to you by Fifth Third Bank. He caught his first career touchdown against Pittsburgh, as Trenton Irwin has been the next man up for the Bengals. When we return, we'll go behind the stripes with T.I. Bengals Weekly is brought to you by Paycor, proud to be the official HR software provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. And Kettering Health, the official healthcare provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. Welcome back to Bengals Weekly. It's been a next man up mentality in the Bengals locker room. One of the guys who has seized the moment and opportunity is Trenton Irwin.
You know, the journey is enjoying the moment. If I don't invest my time, I'm gonna be disappointed when the result doesn't come out. So I think it's one of those accountability things that, that when, you don't invest your time properly, you're not as prepared as you need to be to get the win.
I watch T.I. every day at practice, watch him in meetings, take notes like crazy. So, it's good to see him transition from practice to the game that easy. So I'm proud of him like that.
Trenton works hard. He was one of those guys who's just blessed to be here every day. He shows it, he's smiling every day, ready to go. And he's just a teammate you can count on every day.
Man, that guy, he hasn't had a ton of opportunities, but every single time that his opportunity comes, he makes a play. I couldn't be happier for that guy. He just continues to show up when his opportunity presents itself, and those are the kind of guys that Bengals football and the Bengals organization is all about.
You got to go out there and you got to perform, and you just got to put your best foot forward after every rep and learn from the previous ones. Part of it is just sort of learning and figuring out your path, but allowing your path to sort of lead your own way rather than trying to be something else. So it's just been a learning process all around, just to be able to go out there and learn from the best.
I knew he was the next man up. This is your moment to step up and make plays for yourself, and that's exactly what he did.
To be ready to get working, T.I., because I'm out for a little bit. So I was like, all right, bet, let's go.
The Bengals trying to take the lead. Burrow rolls to the right, throws into the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. Trenton Irwin with his first NFL touchdown catch, and he's given the Bengals the lead.
And a guy who works his tail off every single day he's been with us, he's earned everything he's gotten. Trenton Irwin.
That was an opportunity. We always a little opportunity knocking.
Oh my God. I felt like I scored. I was genuinely happy for him. It was amazing. That's my guy.
Whenever I get those opportunities, I gotta do what I can with it and just be ready for them. You take those moments, you take those little victories, you celebrate them for a little bit, but then you let them go and you just go do your same thing again. You can't let success change your work.
Try to be around Trent all the time, because he's a great image. He's a great person you want to live your life like outside of football and in football.
Just got goals for so much more and just striving for, getting more and more opportunities and winning more games.
Oh, yeah.
This season, I selected the Boys and Girls Club for my cause, my cleats. I love the colors, of course, the Bengals colors, but the lightning marks, what I did want to add just adds that flair to it, and that's what I wanted to do with that. I attended the Boys and Girls Club when I was little. That was somewhere that we can go to be around other kids. Honestly, another family. You're with those people every other day, you say. After school programs and and things you even do during the summer. They have summer programs, so you see the same kids day in and day out. You just build up relationships with those people, and sometimes those can go a long way. It means a lot, be in the position that I am to, show those kids, that anything is possible. I didn't have anybody to come through and, do the things that, I plan to do for those kids. So, it means a lot for me. I feel like it's me. It's popping right now. Yeah. And that's what I do.
Today's My Cause, My Cleats game is brought to you by CareSource, individual and family health insurance, reimagining healthcare. What do the Bengals need to do to beat the Chiefs for a third straight game? We'll give you those answers next, here on Bengals Weekly. Bengals Weekly is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank, the official bank of the Cincinnati Bengals, and your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires. Cincinnati has one of the toughest remaining schedules as the push for the playoffs continues at Paycor Stadium. So what do the Bengals need to do to beat the Chiefs? Let's send it over to Dan, Dave, and Jeff to break it down.
The road to last year's Super Bowl included 2 wins in 4 weeks over the 2-time defending AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs. And this Sunday, in the jungle, the Bengals and Chiefs meet again. And in this Who Day conversation, we are going to give 3 keys to beating the Chiefs again. Lap, you're up first.
Lou Anarumo did a great job last year of disguising his looks, his pressure packages, his coverages. He had more disguises than you see at a Halloween costume party. And he had Patrick Mahomes hesitant, unsure. It's almost like, as a former defensive back himself, defensive backfield coach, his disguise starts from the back end to the front end. And with Mahomes and Kelsey, you want to take the ball out of their hands. Nobody does it better than Lou Anarumo. He'll rush 3, drop 8. He'll have different spies, at different levels of the defense on Patrick Mahomes. What will he come up with? And really, the leads that they've overcome in the last 2 games against the Kansas City Chiefs, double-digit scoring deficits, Lou Anarumo, his disguises, that's going to be big.
My key is that Joe Burrow has to bring his A game again for the Bengals to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. In their 2 meetings last year, Joe Burrow threw for 696 yards, Mahomes threw for 534. Joe had more touchdown passes, 6-5, and fewer interceptions, 2-1. He doesn't necessarily need to have better stats than Patrick Mahomes on Sunday, but he is going to have to bring his A game again if the Bengals are going to be able to beat Kansas City. Butch, how about you?
One of the amazing things, of the many amazing things that happened in those 2 games, was that Travis Kelce had a combined 120 yards. The tricky thing about this year is that the Bengals have their most potent tight end in many, many years. They have a guy in Hayden Hurst. He may not match Kelce. He is not Kelce, but he has been a very effective player for this team. The way the Chiefs are going to come out and attack these guys, Lord knows. If Jamar's back with T. Higgins on fire, and there's a weapon there named Hayden Hurst, he may not be Kelce, but for this team, he may be the winning ingredient.
There are 3 keys for the Bengals to try to pull off another win over the Chiefs in this Who Day conversation.
It's now time to check in with one of the most prolific play-by-play announcers in the NFL. Jim Nantz will be on the call for CBS Sunday as he now joins Dan Hoard to preview Chiefs versus Bengals.
As I have the opportunity to visit with one of my broadcasting heroes, Jim Nantz. Jim, you and Tony called both Bengals-Chiefs games back in January. Obviously, they were thrillers. Have you had this one circled on the schedule since the NFL schedule came out in May?
I've been thinking about this game since before the schedule came out because it was one of those games I was afraid we might lose. I was thrilled to see that we had this in the doubleheader window to open up December. It's big, it's gigantic, and pretty amazing to be able to have a matchup technically 3 times in 1 calendar year for teams that aren't even in the same division, albeit in the same conference, but it's a rarity. And they have been down to the wire thrillers, the first 2, and I expect it'll be the same thing come Sunday.
So earlier this week, Tyler Boyd said that Burrow versus Mahomes is the new version of Brady versus Manning. You called a bunch of those games. Does this feel similar to you?
You know, the thing that's missing here is just time. They're still in their 20s, so it's a little early to go that far with it, but it's on track, I think is what he's trying to really say. They're on track because They're playing in Super Bowls. Yes, it has a chance to potentially be there if their teams keep winning. And these guys, number 9 and number 15, they know nothing but how to win.
This is not the first Bengals game that you and Tony have called this year. You had Bengals-Cowboys back in week 2. Cincinnati obviously fell to 0-2 and they lost that game. They're 7-2 since. What do you think of the way the Bengals are playing right now?
Well, the big difference, I think, since early in the year, Dan, is that the offensive line has stabilized now, and they've figured it out through good coaching. They have figured out how to build, how to grow, and how to become a unit. There have been some other guys that have stepped up. What Higgins did over the last month was pretty impressive. What Irwin did stepping in. Samaji's done out of the backfield with Mixon out. There's a lot of depth there. I think that's the thing. They've had some guys that didn't play early in the year that are playing, a lot of snaps now and playing some good football.
Jim, this has been a real treat for me. I can't thank you enough for doing it. Have a great game on Sunday.
Probably the first of a few appearances at the Jungle before this season is over. It's a big one.
It's a battle of 2 of the top offenses in the NFL. And coming up next, we'll dive more into this AFC Championship rematch. Bengals Weekly is brought to you by Altafiber, proud to be the official internet provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. And Betfred, the official sports betting partner of the Cincinnati Bengals. Join Dan Horde and Dave Lapham Wednesday nights for the Bengals Game Plan radio show live, presented by Bud Light. Visit Bengals.com/gameplan for a list of locations each week. T was back in Tennessee as his game-winning touchdown in the 4th quarter against the Titans put the stamp on his return. And over the last 2 games, well, Higgins has been on a tear. But it's not the first time he has stepped up his game during this portion of the season. Higgins is aiming for his 3rd straight game with 100 receiving yards. And if you're thinking this feat sounds familiar at this stage in the season, well, you're spot on. Higgins topped 100 yards in 3 consecutive games last year in weeks 12 through 14. And over the last 2 games, Higgins has averaged over 16 yards per reception, as 13 of his 16 catches have resulted in a first down. While DJ Reader has been a force. Reader ranks 7th among all interior defensive linemen on the season with an 85.6 PFF grade. And against Tennessee, Reader recorded his first career game with multiple passes defended. When Reader's been in the lineup, the Bengals have a 73% run defense success rate. That number is 8% higher than the Titans, who lead the league in that category. Now, when it comes to the Chiefs and Bengals, they have been 2 of the more lethal offenses in the league, as Kansas City averages 29 points per game, with Cincinnati at 26. Only Patrick Mahomes has thrown more touchdown passes on the season than Joe Burrow, as both QBs are in the top 3 in passing yardage. But the Bengals defense, well, they have yet to allow a 300-yard passer on the season. And in fact, the last time Lou Anarumo's unit did allow that was week 8 of last season. And when Cincinnati overcame a 21-3 deficit to win the AFC Championship, well, that Bengals defense dialed up the pressure in the second half, holding the Chiefs to just 83 total yards and sacking Mahomes 4 times, as he posted just a 34 passer rating. Now, this will be the 7th time in the last 20 years where there is a rematch of the previous season's conference championship, where both teams are 3 games or more over 500. In each of those rematches, the team that won that game went on to make the Super Bowl that season. Cincinnati has had Kansas City's number as of late, winning 6 of the last 7 meetings, as the last 2 have been decided by 3 points each time. Contepelli's Countdown is presented by Betfred. And don't forget to play Ultimate Bengals on the Bengals app for your chance to win amazing prizes, including tickets to Bengals home games. Don't forget to check out Bengals Picks presented by Ohio Lottery, now in the Bengals app for your chance to win prizes throughout the season. 18 and over. Terms and conditions may apply. It's now time for this week's Kettering Health Fantasy Report. T. Higgins posted back-to-back games over 23 fantasy points, as he recorded 7 catches for 114 yards and a touchdown against the Titans. And as we gear up for Chiefs vs. Bengals, Let's take it back to last season when Jamar Chase put on an absolute show in Week 17. His 11-reception, 266-yard, 3-touchdown performance vaulted him over 55 fantasy points on the day. And when you look at Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce both rank first at their respective position, as Mahomes is averaging over 25 fantasy points per game, with Kelce averaging almost 22. Thanks for tuning in to Bengals Weekly. Kickoff between the Chiefs and the Bengals is coming up. For Dan Horde, Dave Lapham, Jeff Hobson, and our entire crew, I'm Marissa Contepelli. We'll see you next week. Bengals Weekly was brought to you by AltaFiber, proud to be the official internet provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. Paycor, proud to be the official HR software provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. And Kettering Health, official healthcare provider of the Cincinnati Bengals.